How's it going? My name's Jackson, and I've never watched soccer before, and I'm now watching every game in the World Cup, and I'm gonna go through and break down today's games: Spain versus Saudi Arabia, Belgium versus Iran, Uruguay versus Cabo Verde, and New Zealand versus Egypt. I do normally have a partner on this, but unfortunately, I do not have one for tonight. So it'll just be me. I'll break it down nice and quick, and we'll have a great time. So starting off right at the start of the day, we had Spain versus Saudi Arabia. And I went into this thinking that Spain would probably win. I didn't know. I was not aware that Spain was such a powerhouse, that they had so much chutzpah behind them, so much hype. And had I, my prediction would have had them winning stronger than 2-1. But I did just predict 2-1 at the uh, at the start of the game, and then halftime came around, and the score was 2-0 or 3-0, and I raised my prediction to 5-0. They didn't end up getting 5-0, but they did for a second, and one of the goals got disallowed. You know, the thing about some of these goals getting disallowed is it's annoying. As somebody that's never watched soccer before, I feel like we count the goal, and then 2 seconds later, especially when it's a goal like I like, we like to say, "Hey, you know what? No more goal. Goal's not allowed." And I say, "Oh, it's so frustrating." And that goes back to my thing that I've been talking about with offsides. Like offsides, I understand it more now over the last couple days of watching soccer. I've watched 16 games now in my life, and I can now kind of tell like maybe when they're gonna call offsides, but it's still annoying. It's still really annoying because they'll call offsides on things that I don't want them to. And then on things where I'd like them to call offsides, it's completely onsides. It's totally okay. Everything's fine. And they have all this technology. And why do we need to use all this technology? Does it have to be picture perfect? Doesn't that kind of take the humanity out of the sport? Shouldn't we just have a team of human refs deciding it? I understand that it's not as perfect that way, but I think that not everything has to be perfect. Humans aren't perfect, and we like things that aren't perfect. Sometimes, I mean, why is there so much fouling in soccer? Fouling happens on purpose, but part of the game, it seems to me at this point, is pretending like you didn't mean to foul them. And also, whoever gets fouled, pretending like you're really hurt. There's so much pretending. There's so much human error and of non-exactness, but we have to be exactly exact with off and on sides. Like if my hair's sticking forward a little bit, like that will determine potentially on or off sides. That doesn't make sense to me. Offsides is quite annoying. And I don't remember if that's what happened in Spain versus Saudi Arabia, but this is it's just something I wanted to bring up at the start of this. But no, I thought that was fun. I will say the second half of the game was kind of boring to me because I knew that Spain was going to win, and Saudi Arabia kind of just rolled over and died, and that was rough. I felt bad for them, but there have been a lot of other teams that over the course of the last couple of days as I've been watching have also had difficult teams to beat. And they didn't just, give up. I felt like the energy from the Saudi Arabian team, especially in the second half, was non-existent. And I wanted them to score a goal, but I didn't care that much because I didn't believe that they wanted them to score a goal. And so it was unfortunate, but it was cool to see such a good team. Obviously, Canada beat whoever Canada beat, I forget, 6-0 the other day, but that was a lot more chaotic. That was interesting the whole time. And also they were like it was like the other team had two red cards. So there's a lot going on. This time, Spain won 4-0. And those are pretty much my thoughts on that. I'm not going to tell you every last thing that happened in the game because I don't remember. And I don't watch soccer that much. I can't tell you what I don't know. And normally in this podcast, I do have a little bit of an expert there who does remember everything, who does know all the rules, who can explain this stuff to me and come back tomorrow and I'll have that again. But tonight, all I can tell you is how I felt about the games, and that's how I felt about Spain versus Saudi Arabia. So I'll move on though. I'll go to Belgium versus Iran, and this one ended up tying 0-0. My prediction was that Iran was going to win 1-0, and nobody scored the whole game. The whole game. There was once. This goes back to my offsides thing where Iran scored at one of those like wall making formation kind of free kick things. I don't know if there's a name for that. I know there's a thing called a free kick, but it doesn't seem like it's always the wall making thing. So I don't know. Tell me what the name for that is. Once again, if I had my co-host, he'd let me know. Well, I don't have him tonight. So what is that called? And also, why should offsides be called there? I feel like that's less relevant in that situation because you're already all lined up. Like they're defending as best they can. If it's the exact move after that ball gets kicked, why can offsides be called? I feel like that's overkill on the rules personally, but that's just me. And I could totally see how I could be wrong there. Just let me know how I'm wrong because I really don't get it. And that's all I really thought about that game. It was 0-0. There is more to talk about. Oh, Lukaku, he was big. He's huge, and I was really wanting him to be like this intimidating figure. But 3 minutes into the game, because he was a striker and he was giant. He looked like a defender, but 3 minutes into the game, he rammed right into that Iranian goalie, and after that, he just seemed scared. He seemed old. I did hear in the commentary he hadn't like played as a starter for like the last year or so, so that would also explain that. I hope he has a better game next week because I think he's playing New Zealand because I'd like to see that kind of dynamic occur of this giant, scary striker. Uh, but I didn't see it. I said in my halftime report, I felt like Belgium was scared after that. They didn't do anything, and I would have liked them to. I felt like maybe they were better than Iran, like objectively, but at the end of the day, Iran was playing hard, and Belgium wasn't playing to its fullest potential necessarily. That being said, Belgium did get that red card, which I really want to talk about because why did Belgium get that red card? To me, it just looked like two guys were jostling for position a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's a red card, and I'm thinking, why? What happened? And everybody that was watching it knew right away. The commentary team knew right away. It was so obvious to them that it wasn't explained to me, and so I'm a little confused by that because I've seen at this point a bunch of red cards be given out, and it always makes sense to me, but I don't understand what happened with this red card. So I'd like to know about that. If you could let me know about that. Uh, Regardless, Iran then not being able to score any more points when Belgium was down a man was sad. I mean, I've not seen when a team has had red cards, the other team not score points and win because they outnumber the team that just got the red card. And it was disappointing because I was hoping for some points. I was hoping that I'd be correct 1-0, and I was incorrect 0-0. I was incorrect about every single game today, and that's frustrating. That's really frustrating. So we'll move on to Uruguay versus Cape Verde. My prediction going in was that Uruguay would win 4-0. I was mistaken because and remember when I'm making these predictions, I have never seen any of these teams at all at this point. Next week, next couple days when the teams play again, and now I've seen them, I'll know a little bit more. But right now, I'm really just guessing. So Uruguay versus Cape Verde, I guessed 4-0 Uruguay, and it turned out to be 2-2 tie. And you know, it was not the crushing defeat that I had guessed, but I would have I had nothing to go off of. What I do remember from this game is that they were fighting each other, especially in the first half. Like they were like fouling each other hard, and there were two players kind of close to the screen, or like at the bottom end of the field where they were like really getting into it. They were really fighting, and that was fun to see. In the second half, that second Cape Verde goal, the goalie was so far away from the goal, And I know he was going up to like stop the ball up there, but that left the goal wide open. And I asked this in my reel, is that something that happens? Was that a good thing that he did and it just like it happens? Or was that really stupid on the goalie? It just kind of felt like sad to me. I don't like watching goalies like make big mistakes like that. Like obviously the goals are gonna be scored, but I like watching when the goalies like make so many saves. It's hype. And there were times like that in the last couple of days. Uh, but not in that moment. So Uruguay, Cape Verde, 2-2. But very fighty. So that was fun. That was fun. New Zealand versus Egypt. Going into the game, I predicted 2-1. And at halftime, the score was 1-0. I felt good about my score. New Zealand was playing better than Egypt, and I thought if they kept it up, that it would be 2-1 at the end of the game. And so I held my prediction 2-1 New Zealand. And then we get to like minute 60, 65 or something. And Egypt pops off two shots like almost back to back, which was fun. That was really cool. And like 15 minutes later, they got a third one in there. And I felt like the second they scored a goal, I mean, they came back onto the field more energized right away. So something happened during halftime in their locker room. But they came back on and they were pumped up. And then for some reason, and this happens so often in these games, the team that comes back hype, the other team just like has no energy. And I felt like New Zealand, the second Egypt got that goal, kind of lost all their oomph, all their chutzpah. And I didn't like that. That was unfortunate because I would have been very interested in knowing what would have happened if they tied. And because Belgium and Iran tied, and I'm pretty sure that they both tied with each other last week, match day or whatever, uh, as well. So what would have happened if they had all tied for all three games? Like, what would have been the tiebreaker? Would they have played like more games? Would they have like flipped a coin to see who made it? That's a really important question that I'd like to know the answer to. And if no one answers that in the comments, I'm gonna still ask it again tomorrow. But it was really hyped to watch those three goals happen. Salah, I think, was his name. I recognized his name. I don't know from where. Uh, but maybe that's something. Is he really good? That's a question I'd like to know. Yeah, I mean these were good games. These were fun. Most of them. There. I had problems with each of them. Offsides really pisses me off sometimes, but it was a good day. I like that there was no game that started at midnight Eastern time because that was rough with Japan yesterday. And yeah, it was a good day. And let me know what you guys think. I'll uh I'll be back here in the morning with my predictions, still without a co-host. And I'll see you guys then. All right, bye-bye.